You guys can come a little further forward. Bring all the chairs this way. Hey guys, morning. So in the mastermind, we've been discussing a lot about how to buy property. We've been talking about how to buy multifamilies, how to buy more property, how to get to the next level. In this, I want to teach you how to buy 50 units all in one shot. The biggest purchase that I've ever done was 24 units in one shot. And the smallest purchase I ever did was a single family. The single family was the worst deal I ever had. The second single family I bought was the second worst deal I ever had. So a single family home has not worked out for me very well. Two families, I would say the third worst deal. Three families have done very well for me. Four families have done phenomenal for me. Five, sixes, these have been my best returns. But the bigger buildings, the bigger we got in real estate, the easier it was to manage, the easier it was to find somebody else to do work for us, the easier vacancy. We were talking to Keith Rose earlier. He came in and he was talking about vacancy. If you've got 20 units, who cares if 10 leave? Because you can still cover the mortgage with 10, right? I've had my portfolio. When I was really early on starting, I didn't have Ron with me. I had 22 units, and there was a point where I had 7 vacancies. I wasn't happy, but I was breaking even. I was still fine. I could survive with 7 vacancies. If you have a 3-family, can you handle 7 vacancies? No. No. If you have a 3-family and a 4-family, can you handle 7 vacancies? And that was the case. I could buy buildings without tenants in them because I had the cash flow from the other buildings. This building we're in right now, East Main Street, is a 10-unit building. When Ron and I bought, we bought in 1 week two portfolios. We bought a portfolio and a building. Which one was it? We bought Brightman Street, which was a single family, a 4-family, and a commercial. And then the same week, what else did we buy? Was it Fulton Street?
No, I think it was this.
Or was it County? Oh, was it this one?
I think it was this one.
Oh, well, this one didn't cover that then. But since in the last 2 years, this building has covered every single flip we've done. Every single property we've picked up when it was vacant, vacancies occurred. This 10-unit has carried us through all of those tougher months. And now with the 24 units in the condos, it's like, wow, we've got this machine covering us if we make mistakes. We've got the condos covering us if we make mistakes. And we just picked up another 11 units. So they're combining together. It's way easier, right? It's like an insurance policy. Dan Quintel, he told me a while. Anybody meet Dan Quintel before? Oh, sorry, Facebook Live. So Dan Quintel's a real estate agent in the area. And when I first was starting out, before I owned a lot, I think I had 2 buildings at the time. And I just asked him, I was like, what's the secret? Like, what's the secret to real estate investing? How do you get really big? And when does it start breaking even? When does it start making money? And he told me, he's like, well, if you buy just one, you're probably gonna not like it very much, right? After a few years, you're gonna say, this doesn't really make a lot of sense because just one doesn't really cash flow, right? One allows you to live rent free, and that's cool, right? If you're living in it, but when you move out, you're making a little bit, maybe you're making $800, $1,000, but back then it was more like $300, $400 because rents were only $750, $650, and now they're at 11, 12. We're getting to much better rents. So you look at, what he said is like 1 or 2. You're kind of hurting. Once you get 3 or 4 of these, start getting 3 or 4 families. Now it's like an insurance policy. Something happens, they cover each other, right? If this tenant leaves, 2 tenants leave, it kind of covers itself. The bigger you get, the more insulated you are to problems. Does that make sense? You can also handle more expensive things. If a roof goes, we're making that money in a month, right? If a roof goes, our cash flow is somewhere around $10,000, $12,000. So it's like, okay, just replace the roof. No big deal. When your roof goes and you only got a 3-family or a single family, there's no cash flow on that single family and you've got to replace that roof. It's like you're constantly putting money into these properties. This making sense? So we understand the value of a large portfolio. But on the other side of it is the cost of a large portfolio. Is that not a fear? When you look at $4.2 million, the 50 units that we posted are a 10-family, a 5-unit, actually, it's a 4-unit with an extra commercial building on it. Then it's 2 3-families, a full 5-unit, and 24 condos. When you look at the purchase of something like that for $4.2 million, the price is a sticker shock. Immediately, you see 4.2, you're like, oh, that's somebody else's deal, right? In the beginning, that's how it is. Until you're looking at, how do I buy 50 units? Right? When your retirement plan is 50 units, my retirement plan was always 40 units, right? That was, back in the day, that's what it was. And now with a business partner, it's got to be a little bit more, and unless we do what we're doing, which is raising capital, building to the point where you have a ton of capital, and now we have an equity position of about $2 million, well then, why do we have the property? We could just throw it into paper assets, right? So people ask, why am I selling your 50 units? I mean, you built this great empire. And I was sitting with one of my good friends yesterday who has way more than me. I'm a fourth of his size. He's got 200 units in the city. And he's like, he figured it out about 5 years ago. He was told by somebody else, we're stewards, right? We're stewards of real estate. We come in, even in your job, right? At some point you'll die, the business will be gone, whatever it is. You're here as a steward to create something for somebody for a while. And then at some point you can't take it with you. At some point you leave it behind and somebody else stewards it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And as I was meditating this morning, I had this epiphany. I posted this morning. It was, business is building something for other people, and investing is buying or lending something for other people to use, right? And that's really what we are. You only make money if you've bought or built something for other people. Mike, what's up, brother? Hey, I got your question. You guys mind if I answer Mike's question? So he shot me a text this morning, and I want to make sure that I get it. I have a self-directed Roth IRA that I want to explode with money in the next 4 years. What is the best way to make this happen? I can only contribute $7,000 per year. Mike, to be honest with you, I think that the easiest way for you to do this is flips. I think that you take that money, you roll it into flips, because flips are going to give you a ridiculous return on investment. You can get in there with $20,000 down or $25,000 down, and you've got hard money the rest of the money. You're only using your retirement money, if you can. I'm not sure how the retirement funds work, but if you can just use it as a down payment, then you can use the rest hard money leveraged out, and you do a flip so that $20,000 you put in or $25,000 you put in ends up getting you a $50,000 or a $60,000 profit. You've more than doubled your money in 6 months. So by doing that every single year, doing 2 flips a year with $25,000, or if you have 50 doing 4 flips a year, you can get a 400% return on investment on your money by just doing the flips aggressively enough. And you know the strategy, make sure that your flips are multifamilies, so if the market turns, you're still in a very good position and you're still doing well. But yeah, Mike, you're a genius, explode it, like this is what you belong doing. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah? Can you think of a better strategy than that? Me neither. Because flipping is the big capital gain, right? It's a big way to make a lot of money. And the other side is you could build a business. Building a business takes 2 years though. And that takes a lot longer, but you build a good business, you could sell it for $1 million, as long as the business is bringing about $250,000 in a year. So, this portfolio has been built very quickly. Ron and I built 50 units in 2 years. 2 years. You could buy it in 1 month, 2 months, right? And as it's grown, it's gotten easier because it's just simpler. We were talking to Keith, the commercial lender. He said the more doors you got, the easier it is for me to finance it. All right, far simpler to finance. Now, what I would do if I was buying this portfolio is I would not keep it all. I would buy the portfolio and I'd begin to sell off. I'd sell off the things I don't want to keep, and I'd keep the best buildings. The 3 families, the condos, I'd sell them individually. Sell the condos individually, one at a time, go in there, flip the 3-bedroom units. You're going to get $140,000, $125,000 for those 3-bedroom units. But if you do the math, you're buying them at $85,000 a unit. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. The 3 families, you're going to be able to sell those 3 families, so somewhere around $300,000, $350,000. Same with the 4s, or somewhere in that ballpark. But they're bigger buildings, bigger units. If you could sell all the condos and just keep those 26 units on the backside that are multifamilies, that's all the cash flow you need. That makes sense? You'll get about $1 million returned back from the sale of the condos, and you'll still be able to continue forward with having all this other property. Right, so there's a strategy to it that is counterintuitive. Everybody says I'm going to buy 50 units and keep 50 units. Only works if you've got about $1 million to drop into this. If you got $1 million to drop into a portfolio of the size, then yes. If you're 1031 exchanging, say you had some property, you sold a whole bunch, and you got to move it into another property, then yes, absolutely day one, your cash flowing, it makes a ton of sense. But with this portfolio, if you don't have the cash, you got to get the cash somewhere by doing flips. You buy it, it pulls in what? Right now, $31,000 a month? It pulls in $31,000 a month. So it's a, yes? 31?
It's about 36.
Is it about 36?
I think so.
Ron Bowling.
Because the NOI is over 300.
The NOI is over 300. Okay. Oh, very cool. And if you haven't gotten the NOI, shoot me a text, 774-526-4796. We actually sent out the last NOI. Who received it? received the NOI, received the pro forma. We actually discovered, thanks to Sean, that we did not put on Walnut Street's numbers in the NOI, so it actually looks even better. It's got a little more pump in there.
And one of Brightman Street.
And one of Brightman Street's units. So that was our mistake. We're going to get that fixed. The pro formas were accurate. All of the pro formas from the calculators, all the graphs were accurate, but the spreadsheet was missing 6 units of income.
No,
Walnut Street is 5.
8.
8 units of income. Oh, okay, wow, that's a lot. So the portfolio looks a little better. So it's 36,000 in income coming in. All right, Ron's gonna verify for us. We'll get back to numbers in a minute. So you're looking at a portfolio that's bringing in a ton of cash. But what's awesome about it is a lot of this is new. It hasn't been stabilized. 11 of the units we haven't even closed on. We're closing next week. So those units we've got to go and stabilize. So I can't tell you like, oh, the rents are higher yet. We haven't done our work yet. But we're going to start working on it. We'll get the rents up. If you buy it, that's your opportunity to get the rents up. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So there's vacancy. There's about 9 units vacant. 2 of them we don't own yet. We're about to. And then 7 of the units we do own. The unit on the side of us is a vacant unit. The unit upstairs is a vacant unit. That'll be filled probably next week. So there's rents coming in. But as of right now, we have to show honest numbers, right? A couple of vacancies, which once they're filled, there's nearly $2,000-3,000 a month. So simple little math in there that makes it look even better. But what's the pro forma shows is a rent increase for everybody, because everybody's under market rate. We only have about 3 tenants in that portfolio that are at actual market rate. What's nice about it is you got proof that market rate can occur, right? And we just sent out an email so all of our Section 8 tenants will get pushed right to market rate. Because now that we've proven it, now we can get our tenants to that same rate. So those will be up to that level next. But the pro forma showed, I believe, $51,000 in cash flow. Not cash flow, gross rents per month. Once we do all of our work to get to that point. Ron and I looked at it and said, do we want to spend the next year and a half doing this? Do we, as investors, want to spend the next year and a half working to get the cash flow to that point? Or do we want to sell now and just move on? Let the next investor get the cash flow to that point and make that sense. Does that make sense? So that's how you evaluate a project like this. You look at what the future potential is. You look at what it is currently. And then say, is the path to get there reasonable and does it make sense? When the path is simply sending out notices for rent increase and renovating units that are vacant and putting tenants in, is that a path anybody could do? Any investor could handle? Yes. I'll tell you, it's as easy as this. But how many rents did we increase in January? 26? 24 for sure.
Yeah, 24.
So we sent out for sure 24 rent increases in January. And we're sending out another, I think 11. We just sent out another email because we reviewed the rest of the portfolio. And we're sending out another 11. So that's $3,300 that we're making just like that a month, just from a little rent increase. Next year, it'll be the same thing. The rent increase will occur. There's some people in there who are getting $5 increases. We don't care. We're just getting to market. Just get to market where it belongs. Some are $25. Some are $100. There are some that belong going up $400. We're not touching those. We're keeping the tenants, keeping them in place, but we have them identified. We know who they are, so that as we're going through and we fill the vacancies, we'll go after those units next. Go ahead, what's the numbers?
$28,000 NOI a month.
That's NOI. What's the cash? What's the gross rent income?
But there's 9 vacancies. That's what it's trying to say.
Gross rent, not NOI.
It's $48,000 a month.
$48,000 a month. Okay. So there's a different. Anybody know what NOI is? How to calculate it? Yes. Anybody not know what NOI is? Excellent. Got you. So NOI is net operating income. You take your rent income minus your expenses. Whatever you're making gross from the building minus expenses from the building. The reason I like to talk about gross is because you can change a lot about the expenses by just making certain adjustments. This building, we changed our water bill by almost $500 every quarter by changing out all the toilets. We just came through, changed out all the toilets, boom, there's $2,000 a year we've saved. That make sense? Mm-hmm. So there's little expenses that you can go in and make adjustments on that actually increase the savings on the property. Dumpsters, we've removed, there's no dumpsters on any of our properties. We now use city barrels. We just had to make sure that the areas were clear. But there was a point where there were dumpsters on some of my personal properties, and this building at some point had it. I said, no, we want trash barrels. Run with the recycling, run with the trash barrels, massive savings every single month. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. So there's opportunities to get in and save. There's no laundry machines on any of these facilities. Well, the condos, that doesn't count, right? Because those laundry, that doesn't go to them. So there's no laundry facilities in any of the 26 units, right? That's 26 people that can be paying you $30 a month by going in and paying for laundry, coin-op laundry. The reason we don't do it is because we just never had to, right? That's it. That's something that I got out of the business when I sold my last property that had washing machines in it, because I didn't like going and collecting them, and I didn't like going and fixing the washing machine. I'm being very serious, because I was still managing back then. And then now to go and set up the washing machines and have my product manager go and do that, it wouldn't be a stretch. It's just a matter of, like, she's overworked right now. I don't really want to have her go do that. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But you could, right? If you're willing to do the hustle and go buy them. I got a guy right now who will sell all of his washing machines for $250 a piece, coin ops. And I was like, yeah, I could, but yeah, do I really want that extra $100 a machine a month? Like, I don't really care, right? You know what I'm saying? But there's, like, that's where my head's at, because it's too much work for me to care about that kind of number. But I look at it over the years. You're talking $400 or $500 a month for 5 years. That adds up. Money I'm just letting slip by because, you know, it just seems like a little bit too much work for me. But it's on our to-do list. Ron and I do have it set there, and we're like, yeah, maybe one day we'll do it. We haven't found the ambitious moment to be like, yeah, let's go install washers and dryers and tell our tenants they're down there and sweep the basements up, right? Which now, saying it out loud sounds so bad. It really does. What was the other expense? So basements. Every single basement in this city, if it's got a nice access point and good lighting, which you could install, and it's clean, could become an artist studio. It really could become a place for artists, because they don't need much. They just need a white space. And well, in a basement they're gonna give you a little bit less, but typically you're getting about $1 a square foot per month for artist loss for that space. So it's a space that's completely open, completely clear. All they want is a space to go and paint, to go and take photos, to have especially basements really work well for pottery, for sculptors, for people who are working with heavier items. And they just need a space to operate, because what they're working with, they can't do in their house. Does that make sense? Artists have a very unique effect on the economy as well. When an artist is in a community and they're doing work, they tend to bring a lot of interesting people who want to build business. They're young entrepreneurs. The millennials love art, and they build a lot of community around them. Artists usually have other jobs, so they're now we're not talking about the starving artist. We're talking about ambitious artists, the ones who can pay for rent for their project, their hobby. We all know of the starving artists, and we all know of those people too, right? I have friends who spend $600 a month to go and have a place to do their pottery. I've got a friend who spends $700 a month to have a place to go take photos, right? Like, these are people who actually need spaces, and they're going out trying to find it. You have a basement space, that's an opportunity for you to do something down there. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. We've never capitalized on it, honestly, because of, again, pure laziness. And the fact that we just haven't spent the time in it. We do so well doing what we already do. Why would we adjust from acquisitions when we've never been very good at stable, like sitting down, like pinching the most money out of our properties? It's just not who we are, right? We're the first guys. The next person's the one who has to go and make more sense. So those are value adds. That's how you make more money out of a property. Rent increases, figuring out ways to use the space better, and figure out ways to use the space better. Rent increase and improve the space utilization. The financing is, how do you come up with what's 25% of 4.2 million? Wow, it's like a million, and it's like $1.1 million or $1.05 million. How do you come up with that? And then the closing costs are probably around 5%, right? That's a fact. Just factor that in. So you've got to add this extra. What is 5% of 4.2? Siri is up here. Ron, can you say, hey Siri, what's the math for 20? What's 30% of 4.2 million? What is it?
It's about 20,000.
20,000? It's got to be more than 20,000.
Bit.
Because
400.
4.2 million.
400, 200,000.
Okay. What was the number? 4.2. I'll figure it out. 4.2 million times 3. 0.3.
0.3 or 0.03?
0.03? That's 3%. It has to be. I'm gonna do it. All right.
0.3 is 30.
Thank you. I got this times 4, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 1.26. 1,260,000. So that's 30%, right? Because the bank requires 25%. Then there's 5% closing costs. We understand how I got to the 30? That's a lot of money, right? No, it's not. It's not a lot of money. It's relative, right? 4.2 million is a lot of money, right? Or 42 million is a lot of money, or 4.2 billion is a lot of money, right? No, it's just relative. It's whatever, right? To somebody on the street, $42 could be a lot of money, right? If there was nothing else, $42 would be a lot of money. It's sticker shock. That's all that is. First time I heard about sticker shock, I was in LA, and I was going out with a buddy of mine, and he has a bunch of flips he does out there. So he was touring me through his flips, and I was taking a look at them, and he's like, "Yeah, I bought this for $900,000, and I'm putting about 140 into it, and I'm gonna sell it for 1.8." I can't really remember the numbers, but it was like in that ballpark, and I just stood back. I was like, "It's a single-family home. You tore it apart, and all you're doing is adding an extra 1,000 square feet to it, and you're getting double the value of this building." It's like, that's sticker shock. Don't. It's not real. The numbers aren't real. Don't think of it that way. Just think of it as you bought a house for 100,000, you sold it for 250. All right, it's the same exact concept. It's just bigger numbers, right? So once you get past the sticker shock, it's not that bad. So I'm willing to hold 2%. 2% is $840,000.
20%.
20%. Wow, this is why you're here, Ron. You're here for Siri, for math, and for correcting me. So we're willing to hold $840,000 because then we get that return on investment. We get interest. Remember I was talking about the 7 forms of income? Anybody have the list? What are the 7 forms? Who's got the list in front of them?
Dividend.
Loud, yeah.
Active income, dividend income, rents, interest, capital gains, royalties, profits.
Very good. Give her a round of applause. Good stuff. So we're talking about interest income. To this point, that one has been my smallest little nugget. It's been the smallest. And Keith asked me earlier how many forms of income. I guess 7. But the interest has always been lacking. When you put in $840,000 interest, say 10 or 12%, or even 8%, we would go 8% for that, right?
Nah.
No? 10?
10 is good.
All right, he negotiated 10. Very cool. So at 10% interest, we're doing okay. We're bringing in about $84,000 a year off of that. Now our interest income's pillar has become very useful. We're like, I like interest. Very good. So that's why we're willing to do it. And the other side of it is if you mess up and you don't pay us, we'll take it back. Right? I already like this portfolio. I'm a step, lending on other people's properties, not excited about it. Lending on the properties I've already managed, I already know what they've got potential-wise, and I'm going to train you. One of the things with selling this portfolio is if you're not a sophisticated investor, I'm taking you through it because I don't want you messing up my buildings. You know, I like my tenants. 50 people in this, 50 tenants who have leases, but there's way more than that who actually live in these buildings. We're well over 100 people living, probably closer to 140, 150 people living in our buildings. It's a lot of lives that we affect. Does that make sense? So we can't have somebody coming in and messing it up. So we're going to coach you guys through the process of managing it, making sure it goes well. We're going to request that you keep our property manager in place because she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. She's been doing this for a while. And I really would like to see her finish the project. Ron, what do you got?
While they are paying off the seller financing for us, they will keep our property manager.
And that's how we guarantee success. Exactly. So and that would be a clause for us to say, okay, just pay us our money back. If you cut her out, cut us out, we're fine with that. That's okay with me. But for the guarantee of success, you've got to make sure that you've got the right team behind you and get the training done the right way so that you can move through and make sure this $4.2 million project becomes a $5 million project. Becomes something worth more, becomes something that's bringing in that $51,000 a year that's capable of doing. $51,000 a month, which annually is over $600,000 a year. Right? Would bringing that kind of money in allow you to buy bigger buildings? with a year of that under your belt allow you to go buy that 100-unit building, buy a 200-unit building. Yeah, you're pretty much unstoppable after a year of managing a project of this size, where you're the key principal, you're the person playing the game. Pretty hard not to get financing doing something. True? Mario, what's up, brother? So, that's 20% of it. Wow, that was easy. You guys just earned literally a 20% down payment. But there's still 10% left. Another 5% for the rest of the down payment, and then the other 5% for the closing costs, the fees. The appraisals will be expensive, not gonna lie. Just the condos cost us what, $26,000 in closing costs?
Yeah. That was
So we know.
Titles.
That's just titles. What was the full closing cost on that? I know, you don't know.
It was 26,000.
It was 26,000. So there was primarily titles were the big expense there. You're gonna have the same thing when you close this portfolio. It's somewhere around 40 to 50,000 will be the closing costs. If you're not looking at the numbers, you will get hurt. If you're saying, I'd only have to raise this much capital, but you're not thinking about that extra 50,000 in closing costs, would that not hurt somebody?
Mhm.
Yes. And it's a requirement that you do it, right? You gotta make sure you're putting all this money aside and planning it out. So we just assume that now you've got to go and get $420,000 more dollars. $420,000 more dollars. Is that way easier than raising the 1.26?
Mhm.
Yeah. Where do you think that money's coming from? Any guesses?
Private investor.
Private investors. Exactly. At this point, you're going out to engineers, lawyers, attorneys saying, look, I'm buying a $4.2 million building, and I just have to raise $420,000. Some people, this will seem like a lot. Some people, it's no big deal. If you're good at talking, you're good at marketing, you're good at sales, you can raise this. If you have a financial background as a financial advisor, you can raise this in a week. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
It's just a matter of how good are you at raising capital. If you have that kind of capital in your building, if you have a house in Boston and you could just sell that house and go buy it, you could refinance, sure, easy too. Not all of us have that opportunity. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
For me right now, I have 2 buildings right now that have about $300,000 in equity. So I know I'm close, I could just do that and then do the same sort of deal myself. So when we were talking earlier, if you don't have any kind of buildings, any kind of equity, buy a 3-family like today, right, Rochelle? Right? Get that 3-family today, right, Charisse?
That's
Yep.
it.
Get it done now so that 2 or 3 years from now, you're in a very good position, right? Anybody who is looking to get into real estate investing and doesn't have real estate right now, and it isn't a multifamily right now, you're missing out on the opportunity to be able to play big deals later, right? The small deals add up. Buying that 1 3-family a year in the first 3 years changed my life. That made things different, right? Keith talks about it. He said, he did it owner-occupied FHA financing. I bought 3 houses FHA financing, owner-occupied. Bought one, moved out, bought another one, moved out, bought another one. Right, that was the process. Just bought. Actually, I sold the first one. Bought and sold a single family. Moved into a 3. Actually, I did do 20% down on the other one because when I sold that first single family, it built up equity for me. You see how that worked? I got $34,000 when I sold it. I took $12,000, put it into the 3 as a down payment, and then I bought a 2-family for $109,000. I just threw $26,000 into it. All I had to bring was like $4,000 extra to the table. Because by owning real estate for a long period of time, you gain something called equity. It becomes capital gains. But if you don't own real estate, every day that goes by is a wasted day. Every day that goes by is a missed opportunity. If you don't have your money into some sort of investment that goes up in value, you're missing out. And it has to cash flow. I'm not talking single family homes, Bernard. I'm messing with you, bro. I could have said how to. He's right behind you. See how I didn't say it, but I did? Me and Ron have been working on that. That's subtle. So the principle right now is, if you have nothing, raise capital, for sure. And if you have nothing, buy something to have something 3 years from now, 2 years from now. Buy something every year, every month, whatever you can afford, whatever you can scrounge together, whatever financing you can figure out. Buy something, buy real estate. Are we at the height of the market? Totally, yeah, maybe. Like I think with my bones that yes, I think we're at the height, and I think that the next 2 or 3 years will probably be very exciting and very high. And I think that potentially the next 5 years after that could either be the same, or next year it could drop dramatically. I don't care. Everything I buy cash flows. As soon as I sell this, I'm already hunting for my next portfolio. Ron, I sent out an email 2 days ago to Becky, our property manager. I said, look, I'm looking for 100 units right now. I want to buy 100 units. I'm selling 50, I need 100. I don't care what the market does. You shouldn't either, right? Back when I started buying in 2012, when I started buying my first multis in 2012, I thought we were at the height. I was like, it's booming. This is nuts. It was 08, went down to the bottom. I was like, it's curving up and it's insane. I gotta buy fast. 2013, I got scared on every deal, every single deal. I was like, shit, like this is the end of the market. Like it's gonna crash next year. I gotta go make sure I cash flow. I had a team of real estate agents. I had 25 agents. Every single week I'd come and be like, guys, this could be the last one. This is the last year. Sell everybody's houses. Make sure they buy multifamilies. Don't let anybody buy single families. Like keep moving them into investments. Like let's hustle. This is the last year. I said that for 5 years. Said it for 5 years. I don't care. That advice works in every market, no matter what. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. No matter what happens, if they're buying multifamilies that cash flow, if they're selling single family homes, if they're selling investments that have gone up in value and they're buying bigger investments, it's a win. Don't wait to buy real estate, buy real estate and wait. That has been the effective lesson, right, that I followed all the way through. So that was a tangent, sorry guys. So raising the capital for $420,000, how do we do it? Who's been to get the money? Who's wearing a bracelet right now? Where are the bracelets at? No? Wristbands. No? You're not wearing your wristbands?
It's in my car.
It's in your car?
I was snapping the shit out of my arm today.
Okay, all right. It was effective then.
Yeah, so I had to take it out.
I didn't get my band.
I didn't.
Come next week. Come next week. So, well, you didn't take Get the Money, though. He took Get the Money. Yep. I ordered 200. I ordered 200 the day after. As soon as I left, and people like how were coming up to me saying, I ain't get a band, bro. Don't worry, you're going to get the pain. So for Get the Deal, which is next week, anybody who went to get the money and anybody who comes to get the deal is getting a wristband of power that says, I am an alchemist. And we're going to go through the process again. Is that okay? If we go through the painful process? Because yes, there's an issue with not having money, and that was why we were using this tool. But there's also an issue with not being able to find the deals. No good deals, right? Who's said that? Who's thought it? Who's heard somebody say it? Okay. Nobody in this room, right? There's no good deals out there. Oh, I can't find deals. Man, the market's so hot right now. There's no good deals. I just put, we're closing next week on 11 units, 3 buildings for $600,000. No money out of my pocket. Right? No good deals, right? In September or September, we closed on 24 units, $34,000 a unit. No money out of my pocket. $28,000 technically. October. Technically, we put $28,000 in, but we just raised that capital back, so we're going to take that money back, put it into our accounts. So technically, I bought $1 million worth of $2.5 million worth of real estate for $28,000, right? So that, yeah, possible. We getting this? So the bracelets will be used again. So bring yours, but I've also ordered 200 because we did run out. Half the room didn't have them. Right? Were you at the Boston event for Get the Money? You were. Yeah. So we were all there, and the whole right side didn't get bracelets. And and I brought a whole bag. I was like, there's plenty in here. We're going to be fine. And somehow we ran out. So I didn't expect it. I only ordered 100. And I thought that running Get the Money would only go through about 100. Either there's somebody out there who's slapping a whole bunch on their wrist, or we've actually had 100 people come to the course. And I know that's probably true because there was 25 the first time and then 75 in Boston. So that makes sense. And Get the Deal. You guys want me to talk about it a little bit? So Get the Deal is going to have a little bit of a refresher. Only the beginning. We're going to have a little bit of a refresher on what we've done with Get the Money, because it will come up. And then at the end, on the second day, we will come back and talk a little bit about Get the Money. Because once I taught you how to get the deal, these things will come back up because it's a mental block, right? There's going to be, at 10 o'clock, we are going to do the mastermind like we always do. we're gonna shift, but the first 2 hours, we're coming in at 8 o'clock. It's an early day. It's a long day. We're coming in at 8 o'clock, we're gonna start talking about mindset. We're gonna get into the mindset of deals, how to identify, what's been holding you back. And then by the mastermind, we'll be pulling it out, right? The mastermind, it's gonna work just the way it always does, but the 11 o'clock training will be a continuation of Get the Deal. And Get the Deal is gonna go till about 4 o'clock that night. And then afterwards, you have a chance to go out and have dinner. We're gonna go and tour the town. We're gonna tour the city. So everybody's gonna get into their cars and we're gonna go and we're gonna hit all of the bars in the city, all the different restaurants, and it's gonna be a long night. You don't have to come, but if you do, you're gonna learn a lot about the city. And you're gonna learn how to go into any city and figure out where deals are. Having these conversations with the locals, having conversations with the bartenders, figuring out what's going on, and not just going out to one bar in one night, hitting 5-10 bars in one night. Because it's very possible, just building the relationships moving fast. It's a part of finding deals. Anybody ever tell you that? No. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It's not common. It's not common. Have you heard it?
What, I have to go into going into networking?
Yeah. Well, this is not networking. This is literally hitting bars. Because bartenders hear all the bad stories from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Death and divorce, that's what they're there for. You're drinking because you're lonely and you just lost somebody. Or you don't want to talk to somebody else, you want to vent with a stranger, right? When people are going through issues with tenants, where do they go?
The bar.
That's right. That's right. We can't get them in their family's house when they're complaining, but we can get them when they go to the bar. So by having the bartenders be your people who service you and send you business, great opportunities. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
The other side to it is you start to figure out where people are going, the conversations that are happening, you're walking around the city, you're seeing things. So it's a good opportunity. We're going to talk about wholesaling. We're going to talk heavily about wholesaling. Because in the beginning, it is a good source of offloading deals you can't handle. Because I always suggest going and marketing for investors who are bigger than you so you can learn from them. Because for me as an investor, I'm always willing to teach people who are bringing me deals. If you're bringing me deals, I'm like, dude, let me teach you how. Let me teach you what I want. Let me teach you what the numbers are. You're going to learn a lot from working with a mentor and working for a mentor. That's how I built my business. Just going to the biggest guys that were there and saying, what do you want? Like, what are you looking for? I'm going to go find it. No, don't worry about it. I'm just going to go do it. Like, whatever it is, you just tell them what you're looking for, whatever you need. And when they say, I got to go do this, I'll volunteer. No problem. I'm on it. Got this. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's worked very well for me. And I would suggest that you do the same. So we're going to teach you how to wholesale. We're going to teach you how to find properties using the dialers, cold calling. We're going to teach you how to build lists, what you were talking about earlier. We're going to teach you how to qualify the lists. We're going to teach you how to pick a market, pick a demographic, pick a market, pick a type of building. We're going to teach you how to find the investors who you're going to be working for, the buyers, because it doesn't make sense to find a property to find a buyer. It makes more sense to find a buyer than find the property. Margaret's shaking her head. Why do you say that, Margaret?
Because if you don't have a buyer, you can't sell your property to anybody. You're just stuck with it.
That is the irony, isn't it?
Yeah.
So for raising capital, it works the other way. With raising capital, you need the deal. But with getting wholesaling, you need the buyer. And sometimes having a buyer and having a deal means that they'll become the lender on the deal. Because they're buying for a reason. They have the ability to do so. Sometimes you get partnerships by working with your mentors. And that's been one of my major goals, is becoming a partner with some of my biggest mentors. I just want to be in. I just want a little part. Just bring me in. I'll do my piece. And same with my students. Sure, I just want a little piece. Do your thing, and I'll just make sure it goes well. Because it's all about making sure everybody's doing well. We get money by investing in other people. Investing in things that other people want. That's how you get paid, by investing in things that other people want, by lending things other people want, and by building things other people want. That make sense? So we're going to talk about how to wholesale aggressively. We're going to talk about agency. We're going to talk about the value of being an agent, and if you're a wholesaler, utilizing agents. Because there's this conflict out there, this competition of how agents, they don't know what they're doing, and wholesalers, they're aggressive, they're trying to cut us out of the deal. Not necessarily. If you do it the right way, everybody is somebody you can pay. Everybody is somebody who's getting something out of this and will market for you for free. When you get really good at this, you don't spend money on marketing, you teach other people how to spend money on marketing. Does that make sense? Because when I started, I've spent thousands a month on marketing. My peak, I was spending $8,000 a month on marketing, and now I spend $0 a month on marketing. I had way less deals then than I have now. I spend nothing on marketing. I really don't. It's just a matter of knowing what to do and how to teach the right people who are willing to work and do that hustle for you, willing to do that investment for you. So get the deal. I'll tell you a little bit about it. It is $200. It's very expensive. $200 for 2 days of training, which is a lot of time, to have all the knowledge to be able to get any deal you want in any market that you want. And you're going to leave with a business plan. You're going to leave with an actual business plan with an accountability partner or accountability team, because everybody who's been in this group together now has to go and do something. You can't spend $200 in 2 days and not do something about it, right? I mean, unless, like, I have a lighter on me. That you guys have heard this before, right? I brought the lighter today. So this is $200, right? That's a $200 lighter. It comes with a nice leather case. It's very fancy. See that? You could spend $200 on something like this, which I guess, you know, when we pull it out and people are smoking cigars, it's kind of a cool little thing. So, oh, look at this. No, sorry, it doesn't light like a normal lighter. It's a little different because it's fancy. You got a light on the side. See that? Right? Or you can spend on education that allows you to buy $200 lighters on a whim. Right? I made that decision. And that decision has made the difference. Does that make sense? It's one of those pieces. It's a little mindset change where it's like, buy the book, buy the course, buy the training, put the practice in, invest the time in doing what you're doing. Get out of your comfort zone. Get uncomfortable. Anybody cold today? You guys cold? Mm-hmm. It's cold as hell outside. It's just as cold in here, right? I mean, not like the heat is on, but it's so cold outside. We should have cranked these on like hours before. But you're in here freezing your butts off to learn something. Because on the other side of this, you know there's something great. There's a life on the other side of this that is so cool that I wish I could like just show you guys and show you like, but all I can do is explain it. All I can do is explain that like in 2 weeks I'll be in Vegas, and for the rest of that week I'll go to California. I'll hang out. I'll be building a business out there with somebody. One of my good friends helping her build her hair salon. Just get her to the next level, and then I'll come back, and then we'll close a couple deals, and then I'll go on vacation again. For another training course, where either I'll be training out there. I'm doing a training for a hairstylist, and then I'll come back, and then I'll train in Florida, and then I'll come back and I'll train here. Right? Who's seen me speak in Boston or Rhode Island or Connecticut? Yeah. So I'm training because it's fun. I love teaching. I love you guys, right? I love seeing people get like successful. I wrote the book. Who's read the book? Broke to $250,000. Yeah? Yeah? Who's listened to the audio version? You didn't hear the secret chapter I threw in? Oh. I threw in a whole 18 minutes extra. Plus, as I was reading the book, I'm like, oh, that's not what I meant to say. And I clarify in the book on the audio version. So you do have to check it out. It is a little more, I went a little more detailed on the audio. Because afterwards, everybody read the book. I had so many people say, well, you missed this, you missed this, you missed this. All right. Audio was kind of my chance to come back and fix things. So I did. I'm not going back and rewriting the book yet. Give me a few years, I'll go create like a revised version, 2nd edition. And it's really, and like, if I could, like, I lived in Vegas for 3 months. Who knows that I lived in Vegas for 3 months? You've all heard me brag about that? Yeah. It was cool, right? It was cool. I'm looking at next year I'll be in Florida. I haven't decided whether it would be Orlando or Miami, like, or somewhere in between those two areas. But next year, this time of year, you cats won't see me. I will be in Orlando. The only time I'll fly up is if I have a training. I'll fly up for the weekend, whatever, and do the training, and then I'm back. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Is that okay that that's how I want to live?
Sure.
Yeah. Right? What's to say? Like, who cares? Right? If you want to work the rest of your life, that's cool too. God bless everybody. If you want to work till you're 65, 75, and then like skimp and scrounge to go on one retirement a year, like one vacation a year, that's okay. I've never been like that. I've never had that desire to go on one vacation when I'm in my 70s, right? I like mini vacations, doing them now, like go away for the weekend, just disappear for a little bit, finding like great training opportunities to go out there so it's a business expense, right? I love training, I love learning. Like some of the stuff I've learned hypnosis, I've learned NLP, like I've got, been on stage getting hypnotized, like it's cool stuff, Training's training, right? In sales, you can pretty much anything can be training. So there's some really cool opportunities out there. On day 2 of Get the Deal, we're going to talk about negotiations. We're going to talk about DISC. DISC is literally the key to making sure that every deal happens. It has been pivotal in my career, learning how to read people. Learning how to read people, how to work with them, how to get them what they're looking for and move them forward. We're going to spend a lot of time on DISC, figuring out what your DISC is, how you operate, but then figuring out how to read other people. Once you understand how to read other people, you won't miss appointments anymore. Like when you get in there and the seller seems like they have to sell, but then they don't sell to you, and they were fine with the numbers, they just weren't fine with you. It's because you just didn't build rapport the right way. So we're going to teach you how to identify a dominant person, an influencer, a stable person, or a cautious person. We're going to teach you how to sell to a dominant person, how to shake their hand differently, how to sell to an influencer. You got to use the fun stuff, the activities, high fives. The S's are hugs, slower, family, more stable. The C's are a booklet of information, no conversation, stay away from me, I'll come to you when I'm ready. Ask questions, what else would you like to know? What else would you like to know? What else would you like to know? And they're the longest transaction. When you know what they wear, how they dress, what they look like, it's super easy. If you try to act like this with one of these, they're going to slam the door in your face. Because they're the fastest people. Either they're in or they're out. They want to know the bullet points. They're done. Right? The way they dress, the way they act, the way they stand, the way they talk. We're going to go into all that. Is that cool? We're going to go into it in depth. We're going to go into it in detail. There's a class I used to teach called Social Dynamics. We're going to pull a lot of that back together and go into the basics of how to make a real estate transaction happen for you instead of happening to you. Anybody ever had a real estate transaction that happened to them? You haven't been in enough deals. But sometimes it feels like they're happening too. It's like, oh my God, like the seller backed out, or my financing fell apart, or where's the buyer now? And it's just like, shit, like this is happening to me. I can't believe this is happening to me right now. But when you become a master and you become an alchemist, you get to the point where deals happen for you, right? Like the deals happen because you were like, yo, that's what I'm willing to do it. Sure, seller fell apart, whatever. Put this guy in, right? There's so many out there. It doesn't matter. Like if the financing fell apart, cool. I got 7 more people behind me. I didn't go to one bank. I went to 7 banks. I got relationships with everybody, right? I don't have one wholesaler. I got 20 wholesalers. I don't have one agent. I got 40 agents. I got 700 agents, right? There's an opportunity out there when you understand alchemy and when you understand how to read people and give them what they're looking for. I'm not saying be fake. I'm saying treat them with respect. See them where they're at. Right? Anybody speak a second language? Yeah? What's your second language? Spanish. So if you knew that I was a Spanish-speaking person, what language all I spoke was Spanish, what language would you speak with me?
Chinese.
Well, all right, Brett's what? But it would be Spanish. You would adjust to me because that's respect.
I have to run to a funeral. I
Oh,
apologize.
right. Good seeing you, bro.
So thanks. See you guys.
Later, man. So it's about respecting other people. That's what DISC is. And when you show people respect and you speak their language, they are more willing to work with you. All day, they're willing to close with you. They want to work with you. I've had people just discount, just drop money off of the price because they just like the conversation. Just like who I was. Ron, can you close that door? If it was the summer, I wouldn't ask, but in this weather, seal everything. Seal the doors, seal the cracks.
Yeah.
Who has questions about Get the Deal? What would you like to see in it? How to get the deal. Yeah. And we'll go, is it okay if we go a little bit over contracts? Anybody concerned about signing a contract, an offer to purchase, a P&S? Yes, addendums maybe, because they come up. How to get changes made in the inspection period. Well, you signed everything, now we're stuck with it. We're just back out of the deal, right? Not an alchemist. No, we just renegotiate. Cool, we found something. Yes! Let's go back to the table. Right? That's, right, Jess? Don't negotiate too hard. Hold on. Let me train you later. So Jess is, she's working with a client who's buying one of our properties right now. So we did the home inspection yesterday. Everything was okay?
Yeah.
Is it pretty good? Excellent. So I'm sure you'll have an email for me with some requests.
Yes.
Yeah, I will. Whatever. Just so you know, I'm gonna negotiate hard too. I'm gonna disc them. So it's a matter, and do you think that you'll have a cutting edge because you know that the deal doesn't die because there's issues?
Right.
Yeah. That's a real agent. That's an agent that has been in deals before, knows how to negotiate, right? As wholesalers, you can't just fall apart when the deal gets a little crusty, right? When things get a little dry, it's like, no, just infuse some water back in it. Like, bring it back to life. This is a real plant. It's growing. It's going to expand for you. You just have to believe in it and believe in yourself and what you're doing. And know the secrets. Know the tricks. So we'll talk a little bit about the paperwork involved. Paperwork is the most boring part to me, but it is part of negotiations. And I love negotiations. And Ron loves paperwork on some level. Somebody has to. We actually have somebody else who does the paperwork now, but he knows how to say, you do this, and this is what needs to be in it. So we'll talk about offers, we'll talk about purchase and sales, we'll talk about the promissory notes again. We'll go back to a little bit of, because raising capital is not just about here's how you raise capital, go get them. This comes into that on a level that is probably almost as important as the seller side. As finding a motivated seller, moving them towards your price, raising capital is the same thing. These don't want to know how or what you're doing in the building. They want to know the rate of return. Guarantees, where's the collateral, how do I know I'm getting my money back, when am I getting my money, what's the return? That's all he wants to know. Eyes want to know that you're fun as heck. They want to know that you're going to get their money back, but it's going to be a fun process, that they like you. Eyes will lend to you if they can drink with you after midnight, right? That's one of my coaches. He's like, he was a high eye when he grew up. He's like, dude, I was in sales. I wouldn't do a deal with somebody if they didn't drink with me after midnight. It was a crazy rule, but that was my rule, right? So understand, if you're raising capital from eyes, you better be ready to have fun or go on adventures, go on vacations with them. This is what an eye likes to do. S's will not lend to you unless they trust you, unless they feel like you care about their family. They're going to talk about the reason they're raising the reason they're lending to you is to pay for their family's expenses, to give their family a better situation, to move the household further forward. If you don't know how to have that conversation or identify them, you're probably not going to get their money by telling them all about the rate of return and by telling them how much fun you are. Does that make sense? C's hold most of the money. Being very honest, they're the most cautious people. They don't trust anybody. They hold most of the money. You will not get in them with the rate of return. You will never get there by being fun. Far from it. And family's not so important to us. It's the details of what you're doing in the project. They want to know, how is this going down? Where is all the money? Why would you want my money? Why don't you just use your own money? Well, if you're so good at this, why don't you just wait until you've got enough to go and do it? C's think that way. You have to have the answers. You have to understand what you're doing and give them this is how it works. See, I do have that own money. I've got $2 million sitting in real estate here, but here's the deal. If I pull that money from there, I don't have that anymore. But if I take it from you, I can pay you, which is good because it makes me feel good, which they don't care. But it's going to allow me to go and buy more. And all I want is more. When they understand you and they can understand the process, see, perfect. Well, tell me now about the rate of return. Can I see an amortization schedule? I want to see how this all looks. No amortization schedule. It's interest only. Well, what does that look like? And it's a lot of explanation. But they're the ones you'll lend from. That makes sense to the engineers, the accountants, the doctors, the lawyers. High educated people with high income jobs tend to be C personalities. Be nice to know how to work with those guys, right? Okay, we'll be talking about that on the second day. The second day starts at 9 because I don't like waking up at 8. The only reason we're doing 8 is so we can get everybody registered. That's the only reason. It's get in here, get registered, ask a bunch of questions, gauge a little bit, and then we're going to start likely around 8:30, 9 o'clock. But do not show up at 8:30, 9 o'clock on Saturday. Be here at 8 so we can actually do all the registration, make sure everybody's in. Yes? Mm-hmm. Now on Saturday, it is starting at 9. And we're going to go through a lot of the negotiations. I'm going to start with opening with questions and find out what you guys want, what you learn, get some qualifiers. I want to make sure that everybody's networking in the room. Everybody's skill level is different. Everybody's goal is different. Everybody's network that they have is going to be complementary or different for certain people, right? We'll go around the room real quick. What city are you operating in? Just say your favorite city. Favorite city you'd like to own real estate in?
New Bedford.
There you go.
Fall River.
There you go.
Fall River.
Taunton, Fall River.
North Smithfield.
North Smithfield.
Fall River.
Rondo.
Fall River.
Nice.
Fall River.
Oh, cool. A lot of Fall River. I must be in Fall River. Love it. All right, so every single one of you who said Fall River, band together, right? Opportunity. North Smithfield, find you people in Rhode Island, right? Mike Shine will be there. There's going to be a lot of people from the Rhode Island meetups. If you said New Bedford, we'll have New Bedford people there. If you said Taunton, I'm hoping Okina will be there. There's going to be people from Taunton. You find your niche and you say, okay, like you do single family, it's perfect. But we're all in the same niche, same area, within different niches. Anytime a single family comes through, I don't want it. Single family farm, New Bedford, pass, right? But for you, that's gold. Anytime multifamily comes through, it's like wholesale it, right? Whatever. It's going to help when you got a bunch of people knowing how to get deals. They're going to get deals in the wrong places. It just happens. It just happens because so many people start coming to you. I get deals that come to me from Worcester, from North Shore, Billerica, like. I'm like, oh, I don't even know where that is. Right? what do I do with that? Okay. But I fortunately have people out there that do know what they're doing. And just shoot them a little message, text. I don't care. Like, make your money. Like, if somebody can make money, like, connect them. But when you have like those people, it gives you more options to get referral fees, right? And they see you're giving them something, they're gonna give you something. It just kind of works out that way. So who has determined that they'll be there next week? Saturday at 8, you'll be there. Very good. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Here. Oh, there. Here. Yes. Very good. You know it's expensive, right? Did I show you the price? It's $200. Where is it? Oh, I'm gonna go over all this. This was the price everybody thought it should be. Remember? Oh, nobody in this room was here. So what I did, when I built the course, I asked what everybody was looking for. I asked what was holding everybody back. So it was supposed to be a 3-day, but instead I broke it into 2 sections. I did get the money, get the deal, and close the deal. And get the money was already done, so instead of a 3-day, we created it into a 2-day. But this was the price that people told me I should charge for this. This is what Okino paid for learning the same stuff. I've paid way more than that. But that's what he paid for his course. I'm over $80,000 in what I've paid in, not college, in training from real people, real coaches, real mentors. And that's okay. I don't care. Like, I'll keep paying it. My goal is to get to 200. My coach is at $500,000 right now. So I'm like, clearly he's making more than I am. Got to keep going, right? This is everything. You can take a picture of it. This is what we're looking at bringing to get the money. Get the deal, not get the money. Get the deal and close the deal. Day 1, get the deal. Day 2, close the deal. Eventually, maybe next year, I'll teach all 3 in a 3-day. But this is the last time I'm teaching it this year. I have no desire to teach the same thing over and over again. Does that make sense? I, like you, well, maybe not yet, but my goal is to teach you to do things one time so that it's done for the rest of your life. And I will teach this over and over per year, a 3-day event where I just bring a whole bunch of new people in to do it. I will not be teaching this multiple times in a year. It's too much work. It's a lot of stress, and I'll be up here for 8 hours and then 8 hours. You see me in 2 hours, I'm fun and exciting. You should see me in 8 hours. I get crazy. I don't get tired. I get crazy. I get passionate because we're having fun. There'll be all sorts of experience. Who went to get the deal again? I get the money. So I get the money. There was one little experience, right? Because I only had an hour and a half. When I've got 8 hours, you learn fast. You're doing aggressive work. You're building your business plan right there with us. It's going to be a lot of work. It's also going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to get you through the process. So if you're at home and you haven't bought your ticket yet to get the deal, it's gualtermurillo.com/intensive. $200. Make sure that $200 is never an issue for you again. I remember when the first time I spent $10,000 on a coaching program, I was sitting there with the coach, and he talked, and I came up to him out on a break, and I was like, yeah, can't afford it. He asked me, you going to buy it? I was like, no, I can't afford it. It's $10,000. I was like, well, when are you going to be able to afford it? I said, it's a lot of money. He said, when is $10,000 not going to be a lot of money for you? I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe next year. I'll just keep working, I'll figure it out, I'll put it aside. He's like, I have a feeling that if you keep on the path you're on, next year $10,000 is going to be a lot of money for you. And he's like, what do you think? He's like, well, I'm gonna work it out. I'm a hustler. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna do it. I'm serious. I'm gonna commit to you. I'm gonna figure it out. I went to that same class 5 times in 3 years before I paid for it. I went to the same class 5 times in 3 years before I paid for it. The year I paid for it, I made my first $250,000. How crazy is that? It took me like realizing that he was right about me being wrong. Like I thought that I could work my way through it. You can't outwork a bad pattern. You can't outwork a bad strategy. Right? If you're gonna try work out, like right now doing what you're doing, outwork being broke, outwork making $1 million with your exact strategy as you're doing it. Try it. Do what I did. Try it for 3 years. Try to be smarter than the person who's already making the money, right? I don't want you to, but my point is that I did it. I personally went through and did that. And then you know what I did after that? Next year I spent $35,000. Quick. When the coach said, this is what I'm offering, I was like, sign me up. I'll be at the back. He says, hey, in the back, I'll be like, I'm on my way, bro. I'll see you up there. No. I learned slow. It takes me a little while. It took me 2 times going to his course to finally drop the $35,000. But I was getting progress. I was stepping up. Does that make sense? This is how the mind works. I get it. I know. I've been there. I've been broke for a long time. Right? I didn't write this from like just broke for a day and then figured it out. Right? Most of my life was spent broke. Most of my life was, I'm too smart. I'm smarter than everybody else. Like I got this. I'll just Google everything and figure it out. Like, you don't think I'm a C? Right? When you think about the way I wrote a book and the way I operate and everything, you don't think that I'm a high C? Please. I calculate everything. I'm ridiculous. Any ex-girlfriend will tell you I'm obsessed. I got an obsessive personality and I think I'm right all the time. Right? These are true traits. Not every man has that issue too, right? But trust me when I say that I thought I knew everything. I thought I knew how to do it. And I was working very hard and pushing harder than anybody. And at the point that I'm at now, I've gotten so good at making money that I realize the secret is this. Find who's already making it, ask them how they did it, and if they don't have time for you, pay them for time for you or work for them for free. And then don't work very hard, just do what they said. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I work less now. I work so little now, like so little. It would disgust you if you saw my day. People say they want to go through my day with me. It's like, I want to shadow you for a day. Anybody ever experienced that feeling? You're like, if I just shadowed him for a day, I'd learn everything. You would learn absolutely nothing from me. I swear, if you shadowed me for a day, you'd be like, oh, like, he went out, he woke up at 10, right? You will not learn from what I do. You'll see what I do on Saturday. When I'm talking to you, I'm giving you all the secret, right? All I do the rest of the week is evaluate property. Like, on Monday with Ron, I do my most work. I sit with Ron, we evaluate property, we look at, and honestly, if you listen to our conversation, you'd be like, did they just go off in this crazy tangent that doesn't mean anything? And then for 30 minutes, it's power. It's like this tenant, this tenant, this tenant, this tenant. Yes, that building. Yes, we're not buying that one. We're going to buy this one. Raise the capital on this. And then we disappear. And then I'm texting for about 6 hours a day. Swear to God. All right, who's gotten one of my texts? Yeah. I'm texting for like 6 hours a day. And then that's it. I'm just like, hey, what's up? How you doing? What are you working on? Like, developing people. My day is boring. Like to be a multimillionaire is not a lot of work. To be broke is. To be trying to make 40,000, 50,000, that first 100, the first 100's a bitch. Right? Be trying to do that stuff. Yo, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. You can't make $1 million by doing a lot of work. It's impossible. That's the secret. This making sense? Mm-hmm. Is it a little annoying, Hal? Yeah? A little frustrating back there? I see you though, you're like...
I'm thinking.
I know that experience, I know the exact experience. So that's why I get the deals put together. That's why I get the money was put together. Because I am so lazy that I want to teach you guys how to get rich for me. I'd much rather teach you how to get rich and I get a small percentage than me go do it all by myself. Right? I've gotten to the point where my ego's not that strong. Just like, you know what? It's okay. Let them have the pie. I just want a slice and I want a bigger pie. Right? I'd much rather make sure you guys are getting rich and just by, paying attention, texting everyone, make sure everybody's okay, following through, making calls if I have to, connecting you guys with the right people. Just getting wealthy that way. I'm okay with that. That make sense? And are you guys okay with learning how to do that too? Yes? That's all Get the Deal is. That's all it is. I'm gonna teach you how to get other people to do the work. I'm gonna teach you the work. You gotta do it first. You can't teach other people without doing it first. You gotta learn it, do it, then delegate it. That's the process of building a business. First you build it, then you automate it, then you scale it. Right? Can anybody say that back to me?
You gotta
Build it,
build it, automate it, and scale it.
Yes. And the reverse is do it, learn it, do it, train. I messed you up. Sorry, that's my fault. Learn it, do it, train it, build it, automate it, scale it. They're the same thing. It's the same exact process, right? Before I move on to another business, I follow those steps. I'm not leaving that business until it's automated. I'm not scaling it until it's automated. Because if you scale garbage, you get garbage. And that's very dangerous in business because they can become big garbage. Small garbage is easy to take out. Any questions on this? All right. Guys, when you have a choice, always work with the best. Bill, what's up, brother? Bill, if your grandkids are playing in soccer, so his grandkid, he wanted to be here today, but his grandkids are playing soccer. If they are outside playing soccer in this weather, dude, I just want a picture. Send me a picture with like frozen icicles coming out of your mouth and all is forgiven. Love you, brother. Guys, when you have a choice, always work with the best. Cheers to your success. Later, Marcia.